Let's go over 5 things that I think you should know about granulating and supergranulating watercolor paints. I recently purchased the full set of 40 supergranulation paints from Schmincke. While this video will be specifically talking about the set I'm working with, most of these points, if not all, will pertain to other brands of granulating watercolors as well. So if you're working with another brand other than Schmincke, this video will still be relevant and worth watching. Number 1. Granulating watercolor paints can look heavy and overworked if you aren't careful. I myself like the light, airy look of watercolors, so I've found that I have to be careful about layering, especially the dark opaque colors. If you're someone who likes more intense pigments and rich dark colors, then you might not mind this at all. Let's look at some examples. In my opinion, this one looks too thick and overdone. Although I only really have 2 layers of paint, maybe 3 layers in a few key areas, it comes across as very dark and heavy. This next one lacks variation in values. I think I should have avoided coming in with that added glaze in the lighter areas. With nearly all of the colors sitting at around the mid value, it feels flat. Now let's look at a few examples that I felt were more successful. I used many opaque paints here, but I diluted them to a lighter shade. And here, I tried to give the colors some room to breathe. See the contrast between the trees and the sky? In this last painting, I have more variety in my values, ranging from extremely light to mid values to quite dark. The areas that have multiple layers are few and far between. So, it's just something to be aware of when you're painting with supergranulating colors, especially if you're someone who uses the glazing technique often. This isn't as much of a concern with the very transparent paints, but as you get into the opaque options, they can build up very fast. Number 2, let's talk about details. Intricate structure and fine lines can be challenging when working primarily with granulating watercolors. The noticeable settling and pooling of pigments can get in the way of your fine lines and ultra small details. However, on the flip side, these paints create such unique texture that you don't necessarily need fine details. Take a look at this example. I painted a very simple landscape, dropping a single paint color into each section. I made no attempt to layer my colors or add details, and yet the painting is still fairly interesting, just because of the textures provided by granulation. A little side note that I'll add on to number 2 is to consider your subject. You can see that when I tried to paint these faces, the texture became distracting, and I had difficulty getting my shadows to look right. The added effect of granulation was in competition with the details I tried to add. Granulation might not have been the best choice. But if I were painting a rough, earthy desert landscape, or trying to capture the organic nature of a tree trunk or river rocks, I think these paints would be perfect. Number 3, having a set of 40 paints can be good and bad. You can see from the color swatch card that the range of colors is vast. This is a good thing, but I really enjoy mixing colors too. With so many variations to choose from, it's easier to just reach for the color that's closest to what I'm looking for and avoid mixing my own colors at all. See how number 3 is definitely a pro and a con? It's saving me time, but quite possibly making me lazy. I need to do a better job of picking a small selection of paints for my project and then experimenting with mixing. Plus, I might be relying on the texture and dual pigments a little too much, telling myself I don't need to mix colors because I already have the added interest of granulation. Number 4, colors can be somewhat unpredictable. This can be fun at times if you like the element of surprise, but it can also be a bit discouraging if you're expecting one color and you wind up with something entirely different. I'm guessing this occurs because granulation watercolors are made up of 2 or more pigments, some of them in contrast with one another, so the ratios of each pigment will vary. Let's take a look at the ghosts here. As you can see, volcano red, volcano orange, and volcano yellow are pretty close matches to their original swatches. Shire green, however, has some yellow and blue that I didn't see in the swatch. Now this next one was by far the most surprising one. Desert green. I don't see any of this reddish brown in the original swatch, but look at the ghost. This color was truly unexpected. Galaxy Blue is a good match. And we have Glacier Green. Now this is another one that really has the potential to vary greatly depending on how much blue, green, or pink decides to show up. Next is Galaxy Violet. Again, pretty close to the original swatch. Deep Sea Violet. And Volcano Brown. This one is another color with contrasting pigments, and I see a lot of red in this little potato ghost guy, but not really in the swatch. I think it almost looks more like a combination of Galaxy Brown and Glacier Brown, and not really so much Volcano Brown. So that was a surprise. And Shire Gray and Deep Sea Black. So I think it's worth repeating that colors can vary each time you use them. And yes, I'm looking at you, Desert Green. Okay, number 5. Keep your swatch card handy at all times. I know this contradicts the previous point to some degree since the colors can be unpredictable, but trust me, it's difficult to know what you'll get by looking at the watercolor pans. And I know this can be true with traditional paints as well, but this set in particular I find very challenging to look at the pan and picture what the paint will look like on my paper. See how these compare to the swatches? If I didn't have them in the exact right order, I would have no clue what to reach for. This is especially true with the darker colors. Now let's take a look at my main palette. I realize these have been squeezed from tubes, so it's a little different than pans, but even so, look at how easy it is to just glance at the colors in my palette and have a good idea of what they'll look like on my paper. I'm finding granulating paints to be more of a guessing game. And even with these little leftover bits that you'll find on the side, it's easy to tell what I'm looking at on this palette, but on the other one, I'm just not really sure what I have or what it will look like on the paper. So, to recap, supergranulation watercolors can be unpredictable. Keep your swatch card handy. Be aware of the heavy nature of granulating paints. Consider whether you want to focus on fine details or texture. And if you have an extensive palette, don't forget about the joy and the magic of mixing. Thank you for watching.